Hey everybody, and welcome to a new edition of the award-winning Talking About Cars, where everybody has a car story, from celebrities to car personalities to just people who bring their classics to cruise nights and car shows. I'm Randy Cardoon, and this week, the NFL Network will be blasting right up the middle on a new show about cars. It's called Tackle My Ride. Okay, it's a familiar concept tweaked towards the NFL. Former Steelers, Raiders, and Cardinals linebacker LaMarr Woodley and custom car builder James Torrez will join me right here at the Automobile Driving Museum to talk about cars. Here we are, guys. 1957 Lincoln Premiere. Comfortable back there?
Hey, real comfortable, man. It feel like a mattress. I feel like I'm in my bed at home.
It's a Lincoln. That certainly is a good sign. Okay.
Very comfortable.
Yeah.
All right. For Tackle My Ride, just out of curiosity, if you had a chance to do something with this, what can you envision doing NFL-wise with something like this?
Well, something with this one, I mean, we got to keep it classic. You know, this thing screams classic. And that's what's really cool about the Tackle My Ride show is we're retaining the functionality of the car. So we're not transforming it into anything other than just modernizing it and then just making it a little bit more fancy. But in all aspects, I mean, we're still keeping the actual vehicle itself and what it holds.
Wow, that's kind of neat. So I want to start with you guys at the beginning, because before we get more into the show, I'm always interested how you both got into cars itself. James, let me start with you. How did you get into cars? What's your car story from the standpoint of your first car you remember and the first car you drove?
Well, my very first car was a Mercury Lynx station wagon. That's what my grandfather gave me, and it had the wood grain sticker on the side. It was an '84 model, so it was like the overextended Ford Escort. It was horrible. It was bad. It had a blown head gasket, so it would blow white smoke everywhere it went.
I heard those Mercuries did come with that as a special additive.
Yeah, I think that was like main thing, you know. Like I've just done stereos and stuff, like just you know, from when I was a kid and 15, and my very first vehicle that I really got to fix up was a '85 short wide pickup. And once I got that Chevrolet, that square body, I mean, that was my baby. You know, I learned how to paint on that thing, and because I wanted flames, and I'm from Southeast New Mexico, and I was reading what was going on in Cali, you know, over here with you guys, and I see it in the books, but nobody back home can do it. So I had to learn how to paint so that I could do what I saw. And from there, it's just been all hands on, and that's kind of how we transitioned. We've just always been customizing stuff. So
how did you transition to actually working with the cars? Was that something that was kind of ingrown with you, or did your family do it, or you knew somebody that did it, or it was auto shop in high school? No auto shop in high school. Both of my grandfathers were mechanics. One of my grandfather owned a salvage yard, but I never really like took up into that. Like I was always skateboarding. I don't know, I guess it's just, I was just like obsessed with the Cali life. You know, I was a skater or freestyling, and then I wanted the cool trucks and the cool cars, and but I just saw that they learned a lot. They could do stuff, and so like I just got in there and just started doing it. But you know, no formal training, no anything else. It was just learning it on my own. LaMarr, you grew up in Michigan. Tell me about how your car story, the first car that you remember, like the one the folks were driving around in, and what was your first car?
I mean, well, you know, most of my cars I seen on TV. So it's like, man, one day I'm gonna get one of those cars. And, you know, being from Michigan, you know, having a lot of cars and, you know, the car industry. You know, I remember a guy who worked at a recreation center that I went to, he drove a 1986 SS Monte Carlo. And I was late getting to a football game, and I mean, that car, he took off. I said, I got to get one of these. And so I actually purchased one of those later on, but my first car that I bought was a 1985 Grand Prix. And I was fooled because it had a good paint job, but underneath the hood was bad. So
what kind of paint?
It was clean, yeah, it was clean, all white.
It wasn't like metal flake or something really
No, it was just all white. It was clean, had the burgundy top, but underneath the hood is where they got me. You know, so when I bought the car for about $1,000, I had to put more work into it. So I spent more money putting work into the car than anything. But eventually I got it rolling for a minute, and I dumped the car like a year later.
Now, you were talking about, you saw a lot of cars on TV.
Yeah.
Tell me about some of those that you remember. What were the cool cars you saw on TV that just really got you into it?
I mean, you know, like the Mini Cooper. Mm-hmm. You know, we talked about owning a Mini Cooper. I seen that. Like the big conversion vans, the Bentleys.
Like the A-Team?
Yeah, you know, so I seen that, I said, man, I got to get one of those cars. I got to get one of those cars. And by far, my Mini Cooper is my favorite car.
Let me ask, as long as I'm on the subject of TV and cars, when you were growing up, was there a car on TV or in the movies that just kind of made you drop your jaw and go, oh my gosh?
No, you know, I grew up watching Knight Rider and seeing that car, and then Magnum PI, and you know, and then Miami Vice with the Testarossa and stuff. So like, I really always liked those. But I think really growing up, like I don't really have a special car. I mean, it's just I liked all of them. You know, I mean, just I'm still retro. I mean, I still wear Swatch watches and stuff. You know, I mean, I'm stuck in the '80s, so I still like that era. And
did you watch the A-Team growing up?
No.
Okay then.
No, I didn't watch the A-Team growing up. I seen when they redid the movie. They remade it. I seen that.
That's right. You're young. I keep forgetting. I've just dated myself.
He just looks old.
Yeah.
Veteran. He's an NFL guy. Veteran. Absolutely. So was there a TV show that you used to watch that you used to?
I watched Knight Rider. Man, that was a great show. Like with the cops, like, man, I would love to get one of those if it actually was real and the car can just pull up. You know, but I was more so into like movies, like the Batman. So I'd always thought that Batman car was always creative. You know, the different styles and different gadgets that he had in the car. So I thought that stood out the most to me.
That's got to be something if you start building cars, and I know with the show you were going to build a whole bunch of different cars, stuff to get creative with to put into the cars. Like you had 6 cars for various things. How did you decide what goes into a specific car for Tackle My Ride? Yeah,
basically it's you know, you kind of got to talk to the person and get a feel from them, like what they're gonna like. So like anytime with the clients, it's like, hey, you know, what colors do you like, do you not like? So like me and Wood, what's really crazy is like me and Wood would ask these guys, we'd like, hey, what do you want us to do to your car? And they'd be like, fix the AC. And we're like, what else?
That's it?
You know, and that was it. I was like, well, this is going to be easy because all we got to do is fix the AC and paint it. But the people that we actually had the opportunity of tackling their cars were so humble that they didn't ask for anything custom. They didn't ask, like they really didn't. I mean, I don't remember one of them. Not one of them even said, hey, custom paint or nothing. So we were really, you know, had a lot of artistic license to just do whatever we wanted. But we still had to take like the car itself, because there's a certain way to go with the car, and you know as well as I do that you can take a car that looks really cool and do something that just makes it like look really bad, but just staying with the style of the car. And then we also referenced a lot with the actual time frame of the car and the genre. Say, you know, one was a one Cavalier, I think it's a 91 Cavalier.
A 91 Cavalier.
You know, or I think it was 90. We had a
classic in its own right.
Well, we had a 92 Dodge pickup, and I can't remember what year model the Cavalier was. But staying specific with that that genre, you know, like what was hot during that time frame, and then kind of incorporating some of the new style into it, you know, with the new custom paints and the new technology that's out there. So it's just all varies on what we're working with. That was really kind of like the hard challenge, though, was I had all 6 and I was trying to figure out how to do all 6 at the same time.
Oh wow!
Yeah, the network put us on a crunch on this one to get the show done, and we were presented with the time frame of doing. We filmed this thing from beginning to end in 10 weeks. And we had 8 weeks. We had 8 weeks to build 6 cars.
Hey, but you know, like the good thing about the cars, when he was saying like they didn't ask for much, you know, any kind of request that they had was actually for the passengers that was going to be in the car. You know, you take the guy from New York, Lorenzo, you know, who has an AAU basketball team. He wanted to make sure that his players was comfortable in the car. Or you take Roxanne from Dallas. She wanted to make sure that the people riding was comfortable in the car, and people. And some of the fans, their main thing was to make sure that they can give back to the charitable stuff that they do.
So let's talk about, for the show, how you got involved in the show. We were talking earlier, and you mentioned that you met Michael Strahan, who's the executive director of the show, or one of the producers of the show, in kind of a unique way.
Yeah, you know, I met Stray back in 2011. I met him on Twitter. Through another friend. I have a couple celebrity clients that I'd already been doing stuff with. Okay. And they were messaging back and forth, and somehow Stray got involved in a tweet, and so like I tagged him in a couple, showing him the car that I had done for this guy, and then ended up sending him a direct message, and so he was just like, you know, he responded, and this kind of like transpired within, you know, just a week's time, and he was like, you know, what? Here's my phone number. Text me some pictures. So he sent me his phone number. So I started texting him, and I called him one day and we were talking. And he's like, "What do you want to do?" I said, "You know what, dude?" I said, "Just give me $30,000 in an audition." I said, "A lot of people come at you for money." I said, "I'm not coming at you for money." I said, "I just want to do work for you so that I can show people in your circles what I can do."
So you knew of the show, or were you just kind of?
Oh, this was way before the show.
Oh,
the show just transpired afterwards.
Right.
Power of social media.
Yeah, this was way before the show. Yeah, this was just me being crazy and telling him to give me some money and let's do some work together. So, you know, we're talking on the phone, and gave my bank account. Next day, he went and deposited the money in my account without ever meeting me or anything, and took a risk on me, you know. And ever since then, we've been friends. I built him a '68 GTO, twin turbos. We put an LS3 in it. We're putting down about 700 horsepower to the wheel.
Is that the silver one that's on your website?
It is.
It is. So
yeah, with full red interior and everything. So
if people want to see what this car looks like, go to his website, which is?
Yeah, you can go to DementedCustomz.com. You can see all of our stuff. You know, we also have the social media, Demented Customz. You know, our Instagram is at @1Demented1.
Okay, where does Demented come from? This ought to be good. I'm sure it has nothing to do with Dr. Demento.
No. It doesn't have anything to do with Dr. Demented. And Demented is really cool in the fact that I'm from Southeast New Mexico. So I'm 15 hours away from LA. There's no celebrities in my town. There's nobody there at all. Like,
well, until you started the show.
Yeah, well, hopefully. Well, now because we brought Wood. We brought Wood to our town, so now we had a celebrity.
I'm a local celebrity.
And he's already known, like everybody knows him over there. And so I'm at this body shop, and I'm doing a lot of side jobs and everything, and I'm working doing collision work during the day. And so I'm a single parent, and I'm raising my kids, and so I was like, you know what, I'm going to start doing work at night, but I need to get a business name. So I'm like, okay, Flames by James, because I love doing flames on everything.
Flames? That sounds like a burger place. That sounds like a burger place.
You know, that was there. I'm glad that one didn't like make it through the cut. And you know, so like it was like Twisted Teas. Like I was always trying to.
That sounds like an ice cream place.
Yeah,
see,
that's true.
Ice cream, Twisted
Yeah, it does. Right.
So everything like has a catch. We can actually start doing slogans after this. We're gonna start doing logos.
And you heard it here first, right here on Talking About Cars. Go ahead.
James and Woods, or Woods and James, slogan company. That's what we're gonna.
Are you gonna get into advertising now?
Yeah. So.
All right. Well,
we want a little bit.
We're gonna venture off into something else.
Yeah. All right.
And we're just different revenue streams.
Yeah.
So we're trying to come up with a name, and we're watching like Pimp My Ride, Unique Auto Sports, because this is back in like 06,
right.
05. So everything's real big and it's coming up. Well, we're in a shop and the guy has a TV, and so my buddy's there, and I'm like, dude, I gotta come. I said, you know what, dude? I said, one of these days I'm gonna do that kind of stuff. I said, I'm gonna have a TV show, or I'm gonna do cars for celebrities. And they kept telling me I was crazy. Everybody kept telling me I was crazy. I said, so what's another name for crazy? And then one of the guys like insane, and I was like, no, there's a clinical name. And somebody, this guy's nephew's like Demented. And I was like, that's my name, Ding. Demented Customz.
The light went on over your head.
So from now on, that's when we went and got cars made, and we became Demented Customz. The cool part about it, and I've explained to Wood, and a lot of it is, it's being demented is now our lifestyle, and it's not actually a sickness or an illness.
Okay.
So a doctor can look at you and your arm's broken.
Right.
So he can say it's broken. But if he says you're demented, how can he honestly prove that you're demented? There's no physical way for him to really prove it. So it's perception from the outside looking in. So our whole deal, like me and Wood, what we think and what we've come up with is, and I've learned this over time, because as I started getting in with celebrities, and as I was like, wait a minute, I wasn't crazy. I just thought different than other people. So from the outside looking in, average people think I'm crazy. So to me, I want to be demented. I want people to look at me because I don't think like everybody else.
Right.
And so like we take those risks, and Wood the same way with the stuff that he plays. So like that's our whole deal is you want to be crazy. You want average people to look at you and think this dude is nuts. But inside your head you're completely focused. You know exactly what the end goal is.
Nobody ever accused you of being nuts in the NFL and being crazy, did
No,
they?
we coming out with the Lamented. Remember we talked about
Lamented.
Lamented.
Now what is that?
Shit, nothing.
That's the LaMarr version.
The LaMarr, okay, the LaMarr Demented. The Lamented, I like
So
that.
That's the next level.
So you have your shop, and somewhere down the line you built the car for Michael, which again you can see on your website. It's a great looking GTO, by the way.
Thank you.
And so how did the idea of the show come about?
We were presented with the opportunity of the show. NFL Network had contacted Left Field Productions and had told them they were doing a show or somehow like that. Well, Left Field had contacted WMD, which is a talent agency here, and a guy there, Josh Pyatt, actually represents Michael Strahan.
Oh, okay.
Well, because we're friends, me and Stray, Josh represents me as well. So when they were like, hey, you were looking at doing the show, that kind of got to them. We need somebody connected, and then it kind of all transpired to me and my sons.
You had a Hollywood agent in New Mexico. Not congratulations. Not a bad thing. Okay, so LaMarr, how did you get involved with this?
Hey, Michael Strahan hooked me up with James. And
now, did he do a car for you before you got involved? Or?
No, you know what? We once I got involved, we started talking about some stuff, far some stuff that I'm trying to do for my AAU basketball program back home. So James is going to do something for me, and then we got some future stuff that we're going to do together.
Yeah.
So this is the best thing that happened to me, because sometimes athletes, we get ripped off by people doing cars just because they see the money coming. But one thing I can say about James is an honest, straight up guy who's going to tell you everything about the car, and it's going to walk you through it to make sure that you understand about what you're getting.
When you were in the NFL, you had a lot of personality, I remember. You were with the Steelers, with the Raiders, with Arizona. Did you ever foresee yourself getting into this kind of role?
You know what? No. No, I didn't see myself getting into it, but it worked out perfectly because it's not just about the cars, but it's about the fans and their backstories and the things that they're doing in the community. And that's what I do. I do a lot of stuff in the community. So sometimes a lot of those stories are not told. So it worked perfectly for me because now I have a chance to talk to people that's doing great work in the community. And sometimes those people don't get a pat on the back. So I knew exactly what kind of conversations to talk to them about, because I've been there before. I'm still doing those type of things, and to make sure that we highlighted them.
Let's talk about, in the show, how people at the various NFL markets, NFL cities, we get an opportunity to have you guys do the car, or you do the car and you work with them. So
he's the director.
Yeah, I'm the director of the shop. You know, I make sure everything getting taken care of. You know, see, like this shop right here, I just come in and make sure everything in place, and then I leave.
He handles a lot of stuff via satellite.
That's kind of what he did right here in the shoot, as a matter of fact.
See, I'm on the back seat. I'm making sure everything, the conversation going good. When I need to jump in, I jump in. When I jump out, I jump out. Other than that, I'm just sitting right here.
He keeps everybody in line.
I like that. I like that. I think that's great. So somebody decides, okay, I want to be on this show. How do you decide on what car and from what city?
Yeah, a lot of that's distinguished by the network, and what they do is they put out a casting call, and then people submitted. They were nominating other people to get their ride tackled. So, and what it was is they were looking for people that are deserving in the community. These aren't just super fans. Like, we're not going to somebody's house that just because it's all painted up, he's getting his car done. These guys really do a lot in the community, and that's what we really enjoyed about it. I mean, Wood, like with his, when you get to know him, and I have over this time that we've spent filming, he's really big on education. He's really big on pushing kids, and he does a lot of stuff. Even though he's a player and he does all this other things, but he does a lot for his community and then where he grew up. And so like it kind of hits home when we're going to these places, because there's a lot of these guys that we see, and you'll see in the show, that remind me of Wood. Like, I mean, they're almost identical to him. They just don't play football, and they don't have the same means. But what's really crazy is they're actually taking money out of their pocket, and being though that they're without, and they're sacrificing little things like putting AC on their vehicle, or you know, getting it tuned up, or like some of these things, the brakes were just completely shot, like where they haven't even gone to get brake jobs. Right. But they're taking money and they're giving it to these kids, and they're paying for kids to have cleats, you know, on their youth football team, or they're taking them to a basketball tournament, and you know, or tutoring them. And so, you know, they sacrifice these little things to give to these people that they're not even related to. And that's what's really cool about it, you know. And like I said, it just reminds me so much of Wood, because, like, seriously, if you get to know this guy, I mean, I know he had a big personality on the field, but, like, the dude is just unreal off the field. Like, he really cares about people, and he really cares about kids and education and stuff.
That's cool that you get a chance to talk to people and work with them and do something nice for them. That's kind of neat.
Yeah, it's big because, you know, just being a professional athlete, sometimes you don't really get a chance to really interact with the fans as much. I mean, you interact with them, but not as much. But to have this opportunity to go on the road and interact with the fans and actually be in their houses and see all the decorations of the team that they have, I mean, you just have more respect for the fans then. And not only because they're big fans of the team, but also doing great community service work as well. You know, kind of like what James was talking about earlier, from us doing the show, we've been talking about a lot of things, and James been talking about different things that he want to do in Hobbs, New Mexico, because people didn't believe in him. He want to give kids other opportunities there. And I remember you talking about doing a thing where bringing people in the shop, young kids, teaching them about, you know, body work and teaching them all the body stuff. And so James is talking about doing more stuff in the community. So that's great. When you got two people that's all we talk about is building a community, helping out others. That's what helps drive the show. Is real. It's not anything fake. It's not nothing scripted between me and James. It's real conversations, and it's so many stories out there. You know, we did 6 teams, but it's however many 27 other teams out there where it's a lot of stories. So in order for us to get to the other stories, y'all make sure y'all tune in. We need season 2. We need season 2. That's going to be based on their ratings.
You know, it really is. It's these people, they welcomed us into their homes, and it's just unreal, some of these stories. And
I fell asleep at somebody's house. I took my shoes off.
Yeah, you know, and like really, you did take
you fell asleep at somebody's house?
Yeah, we was on break. And, you know, you got to watch your words. They say, make yourself at home. I said, you sure? I took my shoes off. And I went to sleep in Mississippi. It was hot. I went to sleep. I went to sleep at, who else's house I went? In New York. Yeah, I took my shoes off.
You fall asleep really easy.
He thinks everything's a bed. Did you notice that was a bed?
Yeah, exactly. Did you notice?
Now that he's retired,
he may fall asleep in the middle of the
interview. When somebody say make yourself at home, I say, all right.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that this time. No, not at all. Okay, so you've done 6 cars so far for the first season. What was the most challenging car to do so far?
I'd say
he's nodding and smiling. So
I'd say the Cavalier was the most challenging.
Yes,
we have this Cavalier on there.
1991, I hear.
I think it's. I can't remember. I gotta remember. What
it was bad.
It was 91 or 92. It was an older Cavalier.
Was it their daily driver car, or what was it?
It was.
Okay.
All of these cars. That's really cool. Is all of these cars are their daily drivers. So it's not a car that's just sitting on the side of the house and they say, hey, I want to fix this car up. Well, that's not what we're there for.
Okay.
What we're there for is to give them a tool to continue to do the good things that they're doing in the community. So we're taking their daily drivers and we're upgrading it.
Okay.
We're just making it a little bit easier for them to continue to deliver food or to take somebody to their hospital visits and whatnot, and then making it a little bit cooler for them. But not to give too much away, but this Cavalier was covered in 28 rolls of duct tape. And
real duct tape?
Minnesota Viking duct tape.
Yes, duct tape.
Wait, so it was what, silver or purple or what?
It was all purple.
Oh my gosh.
Well, actually, it's been on there for years, so it's faded to like a white again.
Yeah, white, silver, yeah. That was horrible.
Why?
That's worth the price of admission.
He had bugs in the, remember all the bugs in the back of the window?
Man, he
had bugs in the back of the window?
Like they've been back there for years.
I don't know what I don't know how that happened, but yeah, the car was pretty rough. And when we went to pick this car up, you know, David Garza, literally all he said was, you know, if you could get the chassis, like the suspension riding a little better because it kind of rattles, I'll be good. I'm like, what? Like, Wood's even like, what about all this duct tape? He goes, oh, dude, I get thumbs up all the time. And we're like, man.
I'm like, them ain't thumbs up because the ride clean, my man. Them thumbs up like, man, look at that food. Hey, man, you crazy for that one. But we respect you.
So, yeah, you know, that one. And then we also had the opportunity of doing a 65 Mustang.
Oh,
and
okay.
That thing's clean.
that thing turned out into being a full restoration. And in the 6 weeks, it was, along with doing the other cars simultaneously, we weren't supposed to be at that level, but
6-week full restoration.
yeah. Aside from actually soda blasting and starting the metal from scratch, we put new engine, new tranny, we did the works on it.
Wow.
It literally progressed from here to there really, really fast. And all of it was because of my sons. I work with my 3 oldest sons. And so like once we started on it, that was the only classic of the bunch. We had we had an Expedition, we had a Cavalier, we had a Dodge pickup, we had a minivan, and then we had a Kia Spectra, and then we had the 65 Mustang.
There have been shows, and you mentioned one of them, Pimp My Ride, which of course is almost like close to your name, but yours is better. And I think the key there is what they used to do, and they used to throw such a wacky stuff in it. They had jukeboxes, popcorn machines, stereos up the wazoo. I mean, now yours, I'm sure, doesn't get that radical. Or
no. Whenever we sat down with the production company and we started talking about the vehicles, and I told Wood that too as well. I was like, I refuse to do any fish tanks. I refuse to do anything that is impractical. And they tried, huh? They tried to get us. They tried to get Wood.
He was strong on it.
They tried to get Wood. They were like, hey, say a basketball goal out of this one, or say. And
what was the one you remember that they tried to do that he just said no?
Oh, they tried to do that on all of them.
Yeah, it was a few of them. But
what was the wackiest that you remember? The first thing that comes to your mind?
Well, it had to be the basketball goal. It was like, man, I don't know. That don't seem real. That don't even sound like me saying that.
Yeah, they wanted us to have one motorized out the back, and I was like, no.
Okay.
So there was like a little bit of butting heads between me and the production company in it, but we stood our ground, and that was the whole deal. Is like, from a car builder's perspective, I saw what that show did to the actual shop. Like I heard on the streets, or I heard it seem like, oh, well, that's not practical, that's not practical. And so that was our deal, is we're not building an impractical vehicle, because these people, they rely on that. So they're already short on money. They don't have 2 or 3 cars. This isn't just a toy car. So if we went and we did that and where it wasn't functional, then it didn't serve any purpose. And that's not what we were there for. We were there to give them, like I said, a tool so that they can continue to do stuff. So it had to be fully functional, it had to be dependable, it had to be reliable. And that was the first thing, first and foremost. And then it had to look cool. That was the second part. So, And
look cool as far as the team is concerned.
Yes.
So I assume, and I think a lot of us have seen the trailers, and it's basically, if you're in a certain city, you're painting the car pretty much in the team colors.
Yeah, because these are all super fans. Like these fans are no joke fans. I mean,
so trying to incorporate a lot of stuff that the team, with the history of the team, whether it's Super Bowl trophies, whether it's players, something where it incorporate the team and something that they can relate to outside of football, because some of them had touching stories that what this car meant to them. So we also tied that into the paint job with the car as well.
Wow, that's very cool. Very cool. Very nice. All right, I'm curious. LaMarr, what's in your garage right now?
What's in my garage right now? I have a 1971 Chevelle, 1986 Monte Carlo SS.
Because he got that Monte Carlo.
Right.
I got that Monte Carlo I wanted. I got a 2011 Harley Davidson truck. I got a
Harley Davidson truck.
Yeah,
okay.
Ford,
right?
F-150.
F-150.
Until you hear what his daily driver is.
F-150.
I'm saving that one for last.
All right, I got my conversion van. We travel. We hit the road, travel as a family.
Okay.
I have an Audi and my 4-door Mini Cooper.
I'm sorry, I thought you said 4-door Mini Cooper. Wait a minute.
4-door Mini Cooper.
Mini Cooper.
Yeah, I usually like to keep that under wraps because I like to fly underneath the radar. That's my Mini Cooper.
Now, the obvious question is, how well do you fit in a 4-door Mini Cooper?
And
you're a big-time defensive guy.
I sat in the back seat just like this. My dad is 6'5". He was driving, and my cousin Richard, Richard's about 6'3", about 3-something, close to 4, and we rode in that Mini Cooper.
So your legs don't go right up against the dash?
No. No, There's plenty of space in there. Great sound system, all-wheel drive. I have the sports package. I mean, it's a smooth, like everybody like, man, where did you get that? Easy to park.
And he says you can park it anywhere.
Anywhere.
That's true.
So
well,
when
Mini Cooper.
When I pull up and I see a spot like that, I'm like, shit, I'm in there. That's my spot. Like, I don't have to think twice because that's my spot.
Awesome.
You know?
So what's in your garage that you can claim to be yours?
I have my Tundra. I have a 2014 Tundra. It's supercharged. We have a lift kit on it. We're probably putting down about 580 to the wheels. Then I have a 57 Chevy two-door hardtop that I need to build one of these days. And then I have a 61 Olds Cutlass F85.
Oh.
With the Rocket V8. I have all the original stuff. And,
that's the first one, the first year.
Yeah. And that's my baby. I have the motors redone. It's got the 218 cubic inch Rocket V8. I mean, all aluminum. Yeah, just
Why a 61 F85?
Because it looked cool. It was a different looking car, and I ended up getting it from a friend, and I was just like, man, I got to build this one of these days. Unfortunately, it's still been sitting for all them years because I've been busy working on everybody else's stuff.
You can ship it down to me.
One of these days we'll build it.
I'll put it in my garage.
then he could come back and tell us more cars that are in his garage.
Yeah, he can have them.
LaMarr, who in the NFL has probably the coolest car collection that you think, that you know of? Because I know a lot of guys have unique wheels, different wheels. A lot of guys are into the high-priced cars, you know, the Lamborghinis and all that because the money's there. But as far as the overall collection, like yours, who do you think's a real big car guy that maybe we don't know about?
Patrick Peterson. He's definitely he's a car guy. I have to say Joe Hayden with that nice collection that he had. Justin Tuck. Ike Taylor.
Should be writing this down for future guests on talking about cars.
Ike Taylor is real big on them. I'm trying to think of some more guys. Those
Does
are
Strahan have another set of wheels?
Strahan is a huge car guy.
Right.
Strahan is a huge car guy, and Strahan really knows his cars, and he loves them from all different aspects. So like when I built his car, there was no taking it to him and him not knowing what was in there. Like he knew what was in there, and he knew what we had done. So that's why we became friends, is because I didn't charge him anymore. I took him his car, and he was like, you know, there's over 30 in the engine bay by itself with the twin turbos and all the other stuff that was done to it, you know, and paddle shifters, push button start, all the proximity sensors, all the modern amenities of a new vehicle, you know, but on a 68 GTO.
Okay.
So he was like, well, how much more? You don't know me anymore. So, but then I found out, like, dude, this guy's a car guy, you know. I mean, he's got a couple Porsches. He's got some older stuff, but he's always at the classic shows and everything, and really, really big car guy.
What car that you've had in your life, start with LaMarr, what car have you had in your life that you sold, you don't have anymore, that you wish, man, I wish I could get that car back?
My 1996 Buick Roadmaster. Oh, man. That thing was like a boat. That thing could go with the V8 engine in it. I missed that car.
And they were really smooth.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I know the Chevy Caprices and the Chevy Impalas of that era, police used that all over the country as a smooth riding car.
And I'm actually thinking about buying another one. I'm thinking about buying, like, then I'll have to put the Mini Cooper aside for the Roadmaster. I would drive the Roadmaster every day. You
could put the Mini Cooper in the trunk of the Roadmaster.
No. Don't disrespect the Mini Cooper like that.
No, but
that's my baby. Don't disrespect her like that.
No, I'm not disrespecting it, but you know how big the trunk of that Roadmaster is.
You're right. Yeah, the Roadmaster trunk is huge. Like, but that's definitely my car.
James?
85 Ford Mustang that I had bought from a guy that was all fixed up. It was all black on black. He'd lowered it, and he'd done a custom cowl hood and some stuff, and like
T-roof or not?
No.
Okay.
No, just regular hardtop, and I just loved cruising that car. And we had already had my oldest son, and then we had my second son, CJ, and I think we were just having my third son, Paul, and their mom was like, we need to get something else. And so I'd trade that in for a little Ford Aerostar minivan. And I regret that Mustang ever since. I regret
Traded it in for
because me and her got divorced like a year after that. So I was like, I lost the damn Mustang. I could have still kept the Mustang. I'd have taken
lost
the
her,
three
but I
kids
could have
with
kept
me.
the car.
Yeah, I could have kept the Mustang, and I'd have been all right.
Can't tell you how many times people have come to me in that question and said, I wanted a Ford Aerostar van back. Actually, I can't tell you because no one's ever said that before.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, not at all. Of all the cars that are still out there, what's number one on the James Torrez list of cars you want to get?
That I would like.
We all have a list.
That I would like for myself.
Mm-hmm. Whether you have to fix it up or whatever.
If I could ever buy a car, it would just be like a Porsche 911. I just love the lines that the 911s have. Whether it's a new one or an old one, I just love the roundness, the shape, and like Porsche's just always been my favorite car.
LaMarr?
Like, looking at.
LaMarr, what about you?
I don't know the name of the car, but it's the car we looked at earlier,
Oh,
the Cadillac.
yeah.
What year was that?
That was a 1939 Cadillac. It looks like a stretch, but it's like a 7-passenger
I would
vehicle.
take that car right there and get chauffeured around in that car.
You just drive it everywhere.
I'll be in the back. Like that, like literally, like that gives me that old school mafia type feel. Like in the back, you get out the car with your hat on. Oh man, I'll get one of those.
Now you're talking about an Al Capone kind of hat?
Yeah.
You know, the fedora, I guess is what you
Yeah,
call
I
it.
get out one of them.
I could see you looking
With
like
the feather on the side.
That's great.
I would because I mean those cars back in the day, just that metal, you know, strong. You know, one of those cars hit it now, you'd be like, "You all right, sir? His whole car smashed up. You got a scratch on there. You just wipe your scratch off and keep going." Like I love those big, strong cars like that, man. And that is it's just so smooth, like the classic look. I mean, it stands out. I mean, you think about some of the expensive cars now, but that you pull up in the front of the club and that. Not the club. I mean, the event.
The club.
Yes, the club.
You put them in
said
the
the club.
event and that. I mean, just it's gonna turn heads.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's gonna turn heads. But I put a little tint on the window, and the back. That's the thing I update. I
Little
put the
tint on the window.
and maybe
Okay.
a couple little sounds in the back. Some kid
glass
wheels
packs
pumping.
on it or something
Yeah.
like that to rumble a little bit.
Yeah, just a
Although I
little.
don't know how that would work with an engine that
Just a
old.
little
Yeah.
thump. Just a little. Do do do.
Speaking of which, would you put a stereo in it?
I'd probably just put a Beats by Dre little box in the back wireless, put the batteries in, tuck it underneath the seat. So you still get the sound.
Still get the thump, thump, thump just a little bit?
Yeah.
That would be just a little different, wouldn't it? But it's a cool car. That's very neat. So you guys had this show called Tackle My Ride. It's on
NFL Network.
NFL Network. It's going to be on Tuesdays.
Tuesdays. June 15th, starting June 15th to premiere.
November 15th.
Yeah, November. What the hell?
No, he's
June?
thinking-
He's talking about June for season 2.
Exactly. He's
Season
thinking,
2.
Yeah, see, I'm already ahead of schedule.
See, LaMarr, you're an
June
optimist. I
sometime
like that in
Yeah,
you, buddy.
yeah.
I like that in you. That's very cool. That's very cool. So that's something to look forward to. And don't forget, check it out on your TV. Make sure you record it so you can see these guys and some of the exciting cars that they have that they're going to put right on the show.
Yeah, the funnest part about it and the whole thing with me is that I'm building it with my 3 oldest sons. So like that's all that I work with. I don't have any other employees. So, you know, me and my boys, we do everything other than sew seats. That's the only thing we outsource. But
Was LaMarr at your place when you guys were building the cars?
via satellite.
Via satellite.
He monitors
I see.
via
I
satellite.
brought the
or
truck.
Skype.
I brought the truck back. I
You
brought
bought
the
it or
truck.
via
Oh yeah, he
satellite?
did. Well, he showed up a couple times.
Oh, we did have one of the
Yeah.
vehicles?
Yeah. It's because I forget he's in the back seat sometimes. So
Did he
Yeah.
fall asleep?
Yeah.
Hey, and I'm gonna tell you one thing about being at that shop. It's too damn hot. They ain't got no
Well, it is New
air.
Mexico.
They got one fan, and you got to go to the other building to get that fan. And you know, it's because it's not no air. You really appreciate a fan. You
Maybe
know,
for your second season, they'll get you an air conditioner.
yeah, it was too hot. I mean, it was
No, because
just
it will work slower.
yeah, it was, and it was
Oh.
dusty.
See, like when you're hot and you're sweating, you have to create momentum if it's not windy. So you have to move. So the more you're moving around, that's our philosophy. So the more you're moving, the cooler you're going to stay.
That sounds like an
It was
NFL
hot.
thing.
I got in and out that shop. That one little fan over there blowing, and then they over there painting dust everywhere. You got to sacrifice dust on your clothes for air. And the first chance I got, I left.
You're a giver, man. You're a giver. I like to see that. I like to see that. So don't forget, check it out. NFL Network, Tuesday nights, starting November 15th. This is going to be a fun show to watch. Thanks to LaMarr Woodley and James Torrez from Tackle My Ride on the NFL Network for joining me here at the Automobile Driving Museum. Check out their website and plan to come by for a visit. Oh, and don't forget you can follow our show on social media. Listen to us on iTunes and watch us on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Randy Cardoon. Join me next time right here on Talking About Cars.